Andy Bird, Chairman of Walt Disney International. You're here on the Asia campus at INSEAD in Singapore. You're about to speak to the MBA students. You cover a huge territory. You're basically covering the world, the emerging markets. How do you cope with so many different types of markets?
The philosophy we have is that you've got to treat every market that we do business in individually. Each market is unique, has a unique set of characteristics, and whilst there may be some common areas in terms of how people consume media, the landscape in which they do it is often very, very different. And so our job and our approach is really to study each market individually and then tailor-make the products that we're going to supply in that market to suit the needs of the consumers.
We're talking about growth markets, so you're focusing, I think, on Russia, China, India, also Latin America. Very different markets, and markets in which maybe Disney isn't that well known, I mean, especially, say, China.
Well, what we find is the Disney brand is universally known. Very, very fortunate, and we believe that's one of the attributes that sets our company apart from our peers and makes us the opportunity for growth that much more. But whilst most people in the world, everywhere I go, I can get my business card out and they've heard of Disney or they see Mickey Mouse, and we have that great brand relevance. What we find is the depth of understanding of that brand varies enormously from country to country. And so really what we're embarking upon is ensuring that we build the foundations so that understanding that has existed in the US, for example, for close on over 80 years now, starts to permeate its way into countries around the world. Interestingly, one of the great legacies that we've inherited was that Walt was a great traveller, and he really wanted his products to be seen around the world. Both he travelled himself for inspiration to Europe, to Latin America, but also from a very early age, in terms of the company's history, our products have been seen around the world. So Snow White was released in China, for example, back in the late 1930s. And Mickey Mouse has been there, Mila Xu, as he's known in the country, for many decades. And so we've had that as a base to build on. What we have to do now is ensure that the different businesses that we participate in are there in the right structure, in the right offering, as I say, to the consumers.
From an outsider's viewpoint, it seems as though you're essentially using television to get the brand into specific territories, and from that building on the brand, maybe through publishing, maybe theme parks. For a long time now there's been speculation you may open a theme park in Shanghai. You've already got one in Hong Kong. Is that the general thrust of how Walt Disney International operates?
We look at each market, as I say, individually. And there's three things we generally look at is in terms of our entry strategy. One is the economic health of the country, the second is the technology and the advances in technology of the particular country, and the third is infrastructure. And when you look at the combination, certainly of the latter two, that really starts to drive our market entry strategy. And if you look at just India and China, they're two very interesting and contrasting, very large and important markets for us. But our approach, driven largely by the differences in regulation and infrastructure, are very different. Briefly, China has very heavy media regulation around television and movies. So actually, our entry strategy there is much more through consumer products and retail, which is very developed in the Chinese market with a lot of foreign entrants into the marketplace as well. India, on the other hand, is almost the inverse. It's very, very heavily television and movie led with a nascent organized retail structure. So what we try and do is adapt the resources we have, the businesses we have, to suit the demands of each individual market.
And what's the main driver of revenue for the company?
Well, we have, broadly speaking, four main businesses: our theme parks business, our television business, our consumer products business, and our studio business. Within our television and media business is also including digital and mobile. That's within Disney branded. We also, of course, own ESPN and ABC. It's a variety of. One of the great benefits we have as a company is we have multiple revenue streams. So we have a very healthy licensing business in our consumer products business, but everything from admissions and hotel bookings at one of our theme parks, through to subscription and advertising revenues on one of our television networks, or theatrical admissions or DVD sales from any of our movies. We have a variety of different revenue streams, and we feel that's another great point of differentiation. Magazine sales, for example, publishing with the largest publisher of children's magazines and books in the world.
DVD sales have taken a hit recently. Have you also found that, given the downturn?
Yeah, I think generally the retail environment has been hit, and within that the DVD sector has certainly been hit. What we've found is, and what is general with the DVD business as a whole as it relates to Disney, is that we generally perform better than our peers with Disney branded titles. I think partly because of the value of the brand itself. So yes, whilst we've been affected, as has everyone, I think we've not seen as severe a drop-off as some of our peers.
The company's been involved in a deal recently with Korea's SK Telecom in terms of getting your content onto mobile phones, 2G, 3G. Yes. Is that a likely stream of revenue going forward?
Absolutely. What we have to do, and we're determined and spend a lot of time thinking about, is we have a phrase, consumers, they consume Disney. They don't consume our organization structure or anything behind the scenes. And in order to enable them to do that, we have to ensure that we are able to give them products that are relevant to them in a manner which they want to receive them. So whether it be online or through mobile or any other media that comes along, we want to make sure that there is an ability for consumers to take our product.
Andy Bird, thanks for joining us on INSEAD Knowledge.
Thank you very much.